Hey everybody, so today's video is going to be another book thoughts video, and in this video I'll be talking about two books. And I want to say though, before I show the books, that these videos are always spoiler free, or at least I try to make them spoiler free, because people have their own opinions on what is spoiler free and what isn't, what's a spoiler and what is not. So I do my best, the best that I can, to not spoil anyone in this video. But if you really don't like watching videos like this because you want to read the books on your own, you may go ahead and leave and go and read the book and then come back. But if you want to hear what I thought about these books without giving spoilers, stay and listen, because these are two really great books. So I have Hoodoo by Ronald L. Smith and Unstoppable Octobia May by Sharon G. Flake. This one I want to say this in the beginning now because I think I'm going to forget. I gave this one 4 stars on Goodreads, and I gave this one a 3.5. We'll get into why I gave this a 3.5, but we're going to start with this one first. And this one is, again, Hoodoo by Ronald L. Smith. This one is about a young boy named Hoodoo who is trying to sort of, just go along with his life. Things have happened in his life that sort of have messed him up a little bit. He's a young boy who lost his mother when he was born, and has just recently lost his father. And his father was actually hung. And then he lost, his mom and his dad. And then he's staying with his grandma, and his grandma has just recently split up with his grandfather. So all of these things are happening, and while all of these things are happening, he's trying to figure out why he can't do magic, hoodoo. And he's trying to figure out, why can't I do that? All of my family is able to do this. Why can't I conjure? What's going on here? So he's trying to figure that out. And while he's trying to figure all this stuff out and just sort of still grieving about everything and trying to go on with his life, a stranger comes to town, and that's what he's called, the stranger. And he comes to town, and he has a weird, spooky interest in hoodoo. And Hoodoo starts having these crazy dreams about this crazy tall man who, might want something to do with him. You'll see when you read. And things start getting insane, crazy, scary as hell. I even have a tab in here where I wrote that. And I try to draw the man right there. Can you see that? I try to draw the man. It's probably really blurry. But I tried to draw the man as a snake, and I said scary as hell. Because it was scary. There are parts in here that are very, very scary. There are parts in here where I got chills. There was a part in here in a dream sequence where the stranger's in the dream with him. This is not a spoiler. And the stranger's mouth sort of just opens really, really wide and swallows up the whole room. But the way that it was written creeped me the hell out. It really creeped me out. And I was just pleasantly surprised with that, because I was not thinking that I was going to go into this and that it was going to scare me. But when a book can scare me, that is a thumbs up, okay? So I think that's all I'll say about what it's about. But there's also a creepy carnival in here, and I love carnivals in books, especially when they're creepy. There's fortune tellers in here. There's a lot of funny parts, even though this is a very dark book. It does take place in the 1930s, and it has a lot to do with like class and race back then too as well. And then there are also dream sequences that creeped me out. I put that on here, and I try to draw a bird. I don't know what I was doing, because I just really like this book that much. And there's another one, the last tab I have in here, and I think I'm going to keep doing this tab thing for my book thoughts videos because it helps me out a lot more. But I put family helping, not alone on his journey, because I feel like in this book he has his family there to help, and he has his grandma who also does hoodoo, and his family members, and his friend who doesn't do hoodoo but she tries to help him along with it. He's trying to, figure everything out, and they're there to help him a little bit. And I really like that, because sometimes, I want to read something different where the family is there, they're not absent. Like with a lot of books, which I still love. Like I still love books where the parents are not there, because sometimes, the kids just, have to figure out the journeys on their own in these fantasy books. And I just like that when the parents are not there. But it's different, and it was really interesting to read something that had the family there that was going to help him out. And again, I don't know if did I say this, it was really heartbreaking. There were parts in here that broke my heart and made me cry, and but this was a really, really good book. I do want to say, gosh, there was something else that I want to say about this. There are illustrations in here, but there's very few, and the ones I show, I can't show them to you because they're spoilers. But there's only a few in here, which I find weird because with middle grade books, I was always expecting there to be like a bunch of illustrations. But there's also the crow that comes, and it's a talking crow that sort of helps him along with this, and it's just a crazy, thrilling adventure. I would compare this, I know people hate that, but I would say this is like Princess and the Frog meets American Horror Story Coven. So if you like that combination, I think you would really like this. So yeah, so I would recommend this one. Again, I gave it 4 stars, I loved it. Then we get on to Unstoppable Octobia in May, and this book right here messed me up. Okay, by Sharon G. Flake. I did not realize going into this that this book was gonna do this to me. I thought going into this that this was gonna be a straight up Nancy Drew mystery novel with an African American lead. And I was just like I was really happy about that. And I wanted to read it, and I was very excited about it. I get into it, and it turns out it is that, but it's also a lot more. And again, with this one as well, this book is very heartbreaking. This takes place in the 1950s, and we all know what was going on in the 1950s. And that's all in here. Like that does not get left aside. Like it's in there. And there are the parts in here that I read that angered me, that broke my heart, that made me laugh, that made me cry, that made me scared for her, because this poor little 10-year-old girl is trying to figure out, is this man who's living in her aunt's boarding house, is he a vampire or is he not? She doesn't know. And then you also, as a reader, like, I did not know what was going on. I was sitting here reading this book going like, what? Is he not? So that was very cool about that you know, was in there, that, you know, it made you question everything too as well. But I gave it a 3.5. The reason I gave it a 3.5, I'm going to mention that now because it was just very little minor things, was that it was a tad slow in parts. There were parts in here that I felt like, you know, that moved really, really slow and could have been cut out and didn't really need to be there. There was like a lot of, I feel like 70 pages of this could have been like snipped out, and it wouldn't, you know, be any different. It would still be this amazing book. But it just, like, I feel like something needed to be cut out because it was still very slow and draggy. But it was still amazing, and I'm keeping it, and it's going on my shelf and it's staying there because it was awesome. I put in here that the writing was beautiful because it's beautiful. If you love beautiful writing, you need to read this. Like, looking at this, you wouldn't think that. You would just think it was a mystery novel. But no, the writing in here is beautiful. So if anything, read this book for the beautiful writing because it's beautiful. Sharon G. Flake, I'm gonna read more of her books because this is beautiful. There's a part in here that I want to read to you, and let me see. I'm trying to figure out how I talk about this. Well, the aunt and this woman who's her best friend's mom, her best friend's mom, are having this conversation about how the mom thinks that Octobia May is just like this ratty little, like, nasty girl who hangs around, and she doesn't like her hanging out with her son, who is Octobia May's best friend. His name is Jonah. And there's a part in here where she calls her Common. And in here, Octobia explains that, this is in first person, she says, "Common is what they call the girl around the corner who combs her hair on the front porch steps in broad daylight. Common is what they call Mrs. Edwards, who is really a miss and living with someone else's husband. It is one of the worst things you can call a person." And I just thought that was just like, that got me, and I was just like, this is so freaking beautiful. But like, I loved this. I really did. I loved it a lot. And it's an amazing book with there's a lot of mysteries happening here, not just that one, there's more. And I said in here that it reminded me of the Haunted House Project. Oh gosh, I forgot who wrote that book, and I really liked that one. But it was very raw, very dark for middle grade, but it was very good. And as I said too, it has that Nancy Drew vibe. Like, you still get that mystery vibe going on. So, you know, that's not like, you know, thrown to the side. But it's just a bunch more in here that I think is amazing. Then the last tab that I put in here was that, yeah, that it was a tad slow and that 70 pages could have been cut out, yeah. But it was still amazing. Writing's beautiful, the cover's beautiful, this book is beautiful. You need to read this now. So yes, so that is all I have for you guys today. I'll see you guys next time with another video. Really, go check out these books. And right now that I'm sitting here, I feel like I'm gonna go on Goodreads and go ahead and bump that 3.5 up to a 4, because even though it was a tad slow, I just can't. Like, it needs to be a 4-star. So I think I'm gonna go and change my rating. So I'm gonna change my rating right now. It's a 4-star book. So these both are 4 stars. Amazing. Go check them out. So yeah. So I will see you guys next time. Yeah. Bye.